Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Jake Lynn here today out of Calabasas, California. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to being of service.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like asking this question first just to kick the conversation off. Championship Leadership's the name of the podcast. What comes to mind for you? Like, what does that mean to you when you hear championship leadership?
Yeah, to me, I hear it's all about the mindset, having the mindset of a champion, ready to win, because winners win and losers lose. And and the leadership, what comes to mind is how I lead my family, who I am behind the scenes, first and foremost, before I can lead anybody. It's all about how I lead my family, how the man that I am behind the scenes. So leadership to me, it's more than just a title; it's a lifestyle. And so, a lot of people, you don't even have to have the title as a leader to be a leader. You can be the janitor for all we care. Like just step up and, be of service and have the mindset of a champion, like winners win, losers lose.
Yeah. No, I love that. So you touch on something that I'd love to talk a little bit more. We before we hit record, Jake Lynn said that back in another life, another time, he was a Christian rapper, and we were talking about Joey Yak. Joey Yak, shout out to him. He did my intro, which I get a lot of. I got a lot of praise on that, and I always, pass that word on to Joey Yak for his skills there. But,
absolutely.
And then you were talking a little bit about, you just mentioned, matching, like, the leader you are, like who you are, like, I suppose, like, kind of outside of the family, like in the world, in the business world, sometimes we can become two different people, or like as a coach or a speaker, you hear it said, like, are you the same person on stage as you are off of it? Right.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people that aren't. And then, my question is, like, in the Christian music or rapping world, you would think that there would be a lot of people that would live or walk the talk. But I would imagine it could be easy for some to maybe not, or, it's just like, we're all human.
Right.
How much do you run into that where maybe they aren't the person on or off? Like, we experience there in that piece of your world.
Yeah, we can definitely dive into that. I would say at the peak of my career in Christian rap was 2011, where I made the ballot of the best hip hop song in the country. The song called "Crazy Praise," really cool little hook that I come up with, and so I was like, all right, let me make a good crowd pleaser. So then you get caught up in, like, how do you please the crowd versus how do I please the one creator, like God, like how do I? And then we get so wrapped up in, like, pleasing people, and and so, like, that was a time in my life where I understood finally, through the pain, like, of not, like, I was validated, but, like, I had to set this expectation on God and on myself, like, I could really do this full time if I were to get nominated. Yeah, I made the ballot top 20 but I didn't make the top 4, So somewhere in there, I was trying to identify, like, have my identity wrapped up in, where I stood at for that song or whatever, and so I didn't get my expectations. So I got disappointed. And so I really started struggling with, my identity, and, like, everybody locally in Kentucky at the time, we lived in Kentucky, identified me as the Christian rapper. And I would travel all over the world, all over the United States, doing that. Telling you, in Minnesota, there's a Sunshine Festival that I got to rap on stage with, some of the biggest names in Christian music, and like Lecrae, Toby Mac, all like big name Christian artists, and started really just identifying myself where, man, your talent can take you to the top, but it's your character that keeps you there.
Yeah.
And so when you see, like, one-hit wonders and stuff like that, then you have to realize, like, they're human too. The same creator that made them made us. We have to have some level of compassion, but also some empathy to understand, like, we've all been there in some case of our life. And, and these Christian artists, they're just humans too,
Yeah, right.
But they're held to a higher standard. Like, they're put on this pedestal. Yeah. That was, I lost myself in that, like, but sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself. And, I got this burning desire for sales and a burning desire for entrepreneurship through it all, like, and applying a lot of that, which I learned through those trials, tribulations, really just through that journey.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking the other day, I was like, how nice would it have been if I just had somebody to tell me, emotionally detach yourself from an outcome so you can enjoy the journey. Like David
Yeah.
Meltzer sat down and told me a few months ago. I was like, if I had a mentor like that years ago, or a coach like that years ago,
Yeah.
would I still be doing Christian rap? I don't know, but I really believe that everything does happen for a reason. And this moment leads to this moment that leads to the moment. And so
Right.
here we are.
Well, tell me, like, yeah, maybe just tell us a little bit more about you and the path that you're on, and maybe like how or why you got out of the music business, and then of course, absolutely what you're up to today, and the path that you're on today.
Yeah. So the journey, basically I married my wife, who I've been married to for 11 years now. And so I'll just transition out of like pursuing that dream of doing music, because, reality is I got married and inherited a son who was 5 at the time. And so life got real. So I had to pay bills, and then
Yeah.
got a mortgage, bought my first house, and
Yeah.
it's like life got really real, and music at the time just wasn't paying the bills. So, I kind of dibbled and dabbled with a little bit of music here and there. And, I went and climbed this corporate ladder with Radio Shack. And it's crazy how people that come in your life for a season in your life, like, you're always interviewing, whether you realize it or not. Like your leadership, that champion leadership, is always on display, whether you realize it or not. There's always
Mm-hmm.
people that are watching you. And so I didn't realize it at the time, but like every opportunity that I've ever had was just like was a segue from another opportunity, right? So like I had a buddy from my Christian rap days that had vouched for me to get a job at Radio Shack. And then when Radio Shack, I didn't want to do that anymore because obviously they were going bankrupt. I prayed about going into, because in Kentucky, you were underground coal miner if you didn't have a college degree.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, Lord, I want to go into underground coal mines. Come to find out, one of my customers who I just really went out of my way, like, because I'm really big on service, and
Yeah.
so really went on my way for. He and I hit it off. Like he's an older guy, retired from the mines, and he had computer problems, yada yada yada. So long story short, he was like, "Which mines do you want to go work at?" At that time, I didn't have anybody vouching for me in the mines, and like, cool, like, cause it's hard to get a job in the coal mines,
Okay.
like every guy's trying to get a job at this time. And he
Yeah.
gave me an option, but he gave me an option because I went out of my way and helped him, not thinking that I was ever going to get anything in return, that he was going to give me an option one day to be a coal miner. Right. So like, you're always interviewing, whether you realize it or not, right? Opportunities present themselves just through your work ethic and how you display yourself. And so, so from there, I became an underground coal miner. So I did that, and really learned hard work and discipline. You talk about
Imagine.
leadership,
Yeah.
but like even those guys underground, I mean, like, they were probably the roughest, round the edges kind of guys that you could work with. There might have been 1 or 2 females, and they were rough too.
Yeah, I
Like
believe it.
everybody's rough around the edges, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and we're men down there,
Yep.
and it's like it's a whole nother world. Literally, it's underground. And so I can't really describe it other than it was rough, man. And it was dark. And so through that, like, I really felt like my light wasn't shining enough, like I felt like I was there to be a light to darkness and all these things. And but then our bad company corrupted good character. And so we're talking about character. Our talent could take us to the top, but it's our character that keeps us there. And so, like, I really started to get around some of those guys that are rough around the edges. Before you knew it, I was juicing up on steroids, and I was big and bulky, and really just thought I was the stuff, man.
Yeah.
And maybe I was in my prime, and maybe but the reality is that I had a secret from my wife, and like, she was about ready to leave me and all this stuff, like, because it was keeping us from being able to have a baby, and we were trying to have our own baby. And and so finally I fessed up and told her, and came clean about it. And then there was a period of my life that I just started coming clean about everything, man. And I think, like, as you come clean and you really start making yourself open, authentic, vulnerable, all these things that you hear these influencers say, the reality is that stuff works. Like it really can
Yeah.
cut through the noise and it can really help you in your marriage or whatever walk of life that you're in, your business, you know, just being honest. Because I truly believe that the person that's clear within themselves, that has clarity and confidence, is the one that is a leader, that is successful in life. When you have that moment of clarity, that conscious is clear, you have that confidence. And so, you know, my wife and I, we reconcile, we work things out. And we were sitting here, we were praying at a Cracker Barrel one day in Kentucky, you know, country's
I
cornbread, you know,
love
like,
it.
and we're praying and we're like, all right, Lord, like, I'm ready to get out of the mines. Like, that was a season of my life. Now it's time to get out because I just can't do it anymore. And as in the middle of that prayer, dude, somebody hits me up. One of my Radio Shack customers hits my wife up. I didn't have a Facebook page at the time because, again, that bad character and all this stuff. Like, I was just trying to focus on me, not everybody else. So I didn't have a Facebook page. And this dude hits my wife up like, I'm looking for Jake. When he worked at Radio Shack, I built this financial firm. I really think that he should come work with me. It's AIG, American General Life Insurance. I know you have an insurance background too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's where I really got that burning desire for entrepreneurship and for sales. And it's really been the trajectory of my life. But see how it all just came together? It all reverts back to that Christian rap career, to everybody else that was coming my way, led me on that path, man, because you never know who's watching you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. So what are you doing today?
Yeah. So taking everything that I learned, AIG, American General, and I've packaged that up to doing telesales, selling insurance over the phone. We've been doing that for the last couple of years, working with contact centers. And, you know, back, I was kind of sharing a little bit about my wife and I were trying to have a baby. We had fertility challenges, you know, we did IVF. And so IVF worked the first time. So like I had to stop going to people's houses and knocking on doors and sitting down at their round tables at their kitchen and traveling tri-state area just to sell a policy.
Yeah.
So basically I ended up just, learning how to do it over the phone so I wouldn't have to miss a doctor's appointment. Because I realized everything that I'm trying to do, I could do this over the phone. Like I could do a full sales cycle over the phone and get that policy submitted to underwriting and probably get a day one approval over the phone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all these things started clicking.
Yeah.
And as one of the pioneers for final expense telesales, ended up building the call center. We built the call center in Kentucky. And, I've failed a lot more than I've succeeded. We closed down that call center and, we could dive into that, but through that journey, I wouldn't be in California today. This Kentucky kid, California dreaming, had I not, if I just gave up and said, screw the call center industry, because I had to close down my call center. I said, well, I was going to write out a 1-year non-compete. What better to do than to sell the call center software? Like,
yeah,
because that's where all my contacts are, It's like,
right.
Let me write out this 1-year non-compete. And the company moved us, the Woodland Hills, and we got a place in Calabasas. And it's like, now I'm in a position where I'm in front of people, and like I mentioned, David Meltzer, mentor of mine now. And then, I've got countless mentors that I wouldn't have had before if I just stayed stuck in my comfort zone or really folded up to say, you know what, screw this call center industry. I quit, and I really just believe in finding that what you're passionate about, your potential, and really pursuing that potential is everything, man. And the burning desire is undeniable. Like, I have a burning desire to be successful. So we're opening up virtual call centers upon virtual call centers now. And a lot of call centers use my training for final expense, how they sell everything that I've learned over the years. With me having paid the dummy tax and have a system out there on Lightspeed VT with Brad Lee and them. And, just putting myself in that position to always learn and grow and network and work with other call centers and lead generation, digital marketing, anybody driving calls and final expense, that's they know my name or I know them or I want to know them.
Yeah. That's incredible. I love it. Great story, man. It's so powerful to hear people's stories and where they've been and where they come from. And So thank you for sharing that. What's who are some of the championship leaders that have impacted you along the way? And more so than like who it is, but really what is it about them, the characteristics as leaders, and maybe that have even helped to tape and shape and mold who you are as a leader in your life?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. So I would say the greatest ones in my life have really helped me understand, like, I make a lot of excuses, stop making excuses, because when you have one finger pointed inwardly, you have one finger, but when you point it outwardly, you got three more pointed back at you. And
Yeah.
so I remember, like, I was playing baseball in high school, and I would make excuses for everything, right? I would say, well, I just got a new pair of glasses and the light was glaring on my eyes, so I missed that fly ball. And then I didn't realize it at the time, but my coach was like, that's just an excuse, boy. Like, I just thought,
Yeah.
I just thought, well, maybe he's, he didn't make it in the major leagues. He's just a jerk. So, like, then I'm making excuses for his
Yeah.
behavior. Then I'm,
Right.
I'm like, I'm not really, I'm young, but had I had somebody that young to tell me, look, you better man up. You better really stop making excuses, take responsibility, and be around people that love you enough to tell you what you need to hear versus everything you want to hear. And so in every organization that even if I come in as a strategist or whatever, I look for those type of people in leadership. And like, that's where I learned in the last role was at Traction, that book Traction,
Yeah.
have an accountability chart, and like where I'm at on that accountability chart, and then where other leaders are too, so that we can hold each other accountable. Because as the word says, iron sharpens iron, as one man sharpens another,
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that's what a real champion leader, I feel like, does.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I love it, man. Thank you. What's a vision for you? Like where you want to go? Where do you want to be? What's the path you're on? What's the impact you want to make? I think championship leadership, it's all about having a great vision, but also, the courage to execute and follow that vision. So where you headed? What's the impact you want to make? Let's say even in the near future, 5 years from now.
Yeah, man. 5 years from now, I wanna have a cure for commission breath. Nothing's worse than a desperate salesperson.
Yeah.
So I'm on
I
this
love it.
path. I'm on this path, man. This mission, even through my podcast and just through my
What's the name
coaching.
of your podcast again?
It's All Things Telesales. So
Okay.
everybody want to check it out. It's allthingstelesales.com. I had the privilege of sitting down with really strong A players, I guess you'd say, celebrity entrepreneurs, stuff like that. And me really just generally learning and picking their brain. Like, what can I take away from this?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
if I could take it away, I know my audience can too. And so with that, the mission is compassion before commission. That's the name of the mission. And so, not that the commission check's not going to come. It's going to come, but it's a byproduct of that word you said, impact.
Yeah.
Because to me, impact equals revenue. So if you're making an impact, the revenue is going to come. It's going to be a byproduct. But to really just slow down, enjoy the journey. My daughter's 3. Like, in the next 5 years, maybe I cash out on one of my businesses that I have equity in, and she'll be in second or third grade by then, and I never have to miss anything. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I do that, and I'm okay with that. I don't know
Right.
what that looks like, but I'm good with it either way. As long as I'm set forth on this mission of curing commission breath, and it's hard right now, right? Because we're in the middle of a pandemic and everybody's like worried, but worry is like a rocking chair. It keeps you busy, but it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Just to help people really emotionally detach themselves from an outcome and really just enjoy the journey that they're on, the learning experiences and all the pain that comes with it. And really just to focus on that purpose over pleasure, and really just focus on, just enjoying the journey, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, man. I love it. The commission breath. That's good. I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah.
We've all been there though. That's for sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Me
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
I'm speaking from my experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's like a critical moment or defining moment, kind of that fork in the road for you where, obviously you did make the decision that you did, which has you where you are today, but had you not, like you'd be a very different place in your life. We have all had those moments, probably many of them, but there's oftentimes one or two that really kind of stick out. And I think it's powerful for others to be able to hear those because they're probably in a similar moment for themselves right now. And it's good to hear other people and the courage that they've had to make those decisions in those moments to see how it's come out for them. So is there something that pops to your mind as I ask that question?
Yeah, man. The first thing that comes to mind is something that happened recently this last couple of months. To say like in February, I decided to take a company up on a severance package. And I was like, okay, cool. So like I need to really focus on me and betting on myself. So I took the severance package. And then as the severance money is running out, the same company that gave me the severance package said, hey, won't you come back the day that last severance hit my bank account, right? On April 15th, it hit. And they were like, won't you come back as a VP of business development and we'll pay you X, Y, Z. And it's going to be this like really nice package. And I'm like, oh man, like I need some guarantees right now. Like, you know, and especially like here we are in COVID and I'm got an opportunity like this, like, man, I really need to take this. And I was really struggling with it. And then my wife was really pushing for me to do it too. Cause you know, she wants some guarantees and totally, you know, but something inside of me said, you know what, real like practice what you preach, Jake, bet on yourself, man. Like you don't need to take this. Like you don't have to, like, there's something else out there. And because I said no, it gave me the opportunity to find my yes, you know? And so, man, I took a really nice opportunity with the company as a chief growth officer through all of it. And as a result, we're also building our own insurance agency, virtual insurance agency. And we're focusing, like the company's been around for a couple of years, but they haven't implemented like traction and these L10 meetings and stuff like that. And that gets me fired up. You know, it's like really getting in there to implement and really building a culture. But had I said yes to the other thing, like I would have had an obligation to pursue that, you know? And, and it was my buddy that like, I really believe in like having fun and making friends and everything, you know? And, so when I say no, like I'm like saying no to a friend too, you know? But what I've learned is to say no and know these,
That's difficult for a lot of people to say, you know, myself included. It's, you know, because I think we genuinely inherently want to help people. And when we get asked to do something, we want to help people out, or we want to say yes. But you do that too many places, too many times. And, you know, you just stretch yourself thin and
you do.
You have nothing left for yourself, right?
No. Yeah. You got to make time for yourself. And if you have a family, you know, they deserve time too. So
big time.
Definitely. Yeah,
Absolutely, man. What are some of the things that you learned inside of, let's go back to like the rapping days in the music business that you use to help you as a leader and what you're doing in your professional life today?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I appreciate that. So we focus on like core values when we go to build out our infrastructure of organizations, you know? And so as an entrepreneur, you want to think about your core values and I feel like from that journey, I've really learned core values, right? I learned the compassion, and that's the mission, right? I learned compassion before commission. I learned so much that now I'm able to implement in, you know, in this organization that I'm at now. That is a core value, by the way, compassion before commission, right? And sometimes in life, when life gets hard, you got to go back to your values. And so, especially now, or if your business has gone belly up and you're like, man, what's next? Go back to your values. And so that's where I've been really, that this journey has led me back to those values, back to that root of our character takes us to our talent takes us to the top, but it's our character that keeps us there. Think about that for a minute. You know, think about the pillars of character and think about how that matches up with your integrity. Think about all that stuff. And then I think about all the mistakes that I made there in that journey and how not to and that's another core value, is that we learn from mistakes. We learn from our own mistakes and we learn from the mistakes of others so we don't repeat the mistakes, right? So really just think about those values, man.
Yeah, I love it. talk about your faith and how big of a role that plays in your life and how you operate
Yeah.
in not just business, but all areas of life.
Yeah, bro. Like Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it for all your heart, as for working for the Lord and not for men. And so I actually painted that on my hard hat in the coal mines,
Did
because
you? Yeah.
that's what it is. Like we all say, and I've been part of organizations that didn't have the same faith as me, that have said like work to something bigger than yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
my version of working into something bigger than myself. That's why my work ethic and my grind is not the same grind as somebody else that's an employee, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur and I need to be in a role in which I'm treated as such, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to go out and develop my own organization, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what separate. So an employee like clocks in, they have their set routine, their habits, and then like an entrepreneur has their high performance habits, right? They have this, that Colossians 3:23 mindset that whatever they do, they work at it for all their heart, as for working for the Lord and not for men, not to human masters, not to my boss. And so that right there, I mean, I think that pretty much says it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. What as we start to wrap this up a little bit, one more question. If there's one or two things you could give to the listeners that like if they're to implement it today into their life, it would help them move their life forward today, what would that be?
The one thing, if they implement it in their life, I would say it is compassion before commission. I've said it a couple of times
Yeah,
leading up to this
absolutely.
point. I would say, focus on the journey. Stop focusing so much on the outcome. Yeah, we all have a desired outcome. Like hopping on this podcast today with you, Nate, I'm like leading up to it. I'm listening to it. I heard your intro with Joey Yak. Like I'm prepping myself, right?
Right.
Still do pre-call preparation if you're in sales. Still,
Yeah.
the more you show that you know about somebody before you jam with them, shows how much you care about that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my question to you is, how did that make you feel that I listened, that I complimented you, right? Like it felt good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that goes in line with saying, still do the things that you know you ought to do, even when you don't feel like it, do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then, but also understand that through your service, losing yourself in the service of helping others through that service, like it's the difference between going to McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. Like
Yeah.
if you've experienced both, right? What's that
Right.
customer experience like? Think about it. Think about compassion before commission in a customer experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that customer's journey. When I go to Chick-fil-A and I say, thank you, what do they say?
Yeah.
My
I don't.
pleasure. My pleasure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they say it's my pleasure, right? So if I go to McDonald's, they're like, oh, that you're not going to get it's my like they have that's their culture at
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A,
Right. Exactly.
and so that's the difference between McDonald's and Chick-fil-A is that customer experience, that journey, right? And so basically, what I'm saying is think about compassion before commission as if you're the other person on the other end of the line, or other person on the other end of the Zoom or whatever, and what that experience is going to be like for them if you have emotionally detached yourself from an outcome, but also being mindful. You still have to have the end in mind and be prepared to handle that end. Like, how do
Right.
I close them? How do I handle the objections?
Yeah.
But all that to really focus on service. Serve, don't sell if you're in sales.
Yeah.
And compassion before commission, because the commission is going to come, but don't lose sight of it and forget the big word there, compassion.
Follow you on social and all that.
Yeah. So you can go to JakeLynn.com, allthingstellasales.com. And I'm big on LinkedIn. So definitely if you're on LinkedIn, connect with me there. You can find me just JakeLynn.com.
Perfect. I appreciate you being here today, man. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit better, spend some time with you, and definitely hope to stay connected as well into the future. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. I appreciate you. My pleasure.
Yeah. Have a great day.
All right, you too, man.